Operator, won't you put me on through? I got to send my love down to Baton Rouge. Hurry up. Won't you put her on the line? Ari, this game in Baton Rouge, SEC opener for Florida and LSU, certainly had a lot more shine to it before the Gators lost to USF. But I would argue that it now has even more intrigue because Billy Napier's back is once again against the wall. He is coaching for his job. Meanwhile, LSU, huge opening week win against Clemson. Offensive performance against Louisiana Tech that did not inspire confidence, but they lost their starting center on the first play. Braylon Moore went out on the first play. They also lost Trey'Dez Green, their tight end, who caught the game-winning pass in the Clemson game in that Louisiana Tech game. This game on its face, if you just look at what has happened so far this season, you're going to go, LSU is going to kill Florida. And that may happen. But I think there's a lot more layers to this game than just that.
College football is a wonderful, bizarre universe where what was true last week isn't always true the following week. And I try to remember that because for me, it's more difficult than others because I get so hyped up and animated when things happen. And I buy into hype very easily. I feel like if I lived in a time where you could like buy a timeshare and they used to like knock on your door, like I would be a guy who's like, yeah, sign me up. This sounds like the best deal I've ever heard. But like, I think that Florida, rightfully so, is down in the dumps. And Florida, rightfully so, did not play the way that you would anticipate they would play in the offseason. That doesn't mean that Florida can't put together a really good game. I don't think that they're
which is what happened to LSU against Florida last year.
And I do think that the early season is super fun as you try to like put context clues together and do the transitive property of like LSU had the number one win in the country a week ago when they beat Clemson, and then Clemson's losing 13-0 to Troy, which means, oh no, LSU might actually not be as good as we think, and we're being fooled by a game that might not have been as impressive. And then Clemson comes back to win. LSU wins ugly, but like all of a sudden, like you weren't hearing all the LSU should be number one stuff from people like you were a week ago. And it's like all these context clues. You know what's a great context clue, Andy? The actual game. Yes. We get to actually watch it.
And we're going to get one. Here's my thinking on how this plays out. Because I do think the LSU offensive issues, I think the concerns coming out of the game are real. But I will point out, when you lose your center on the first play of the game, it can have an outsized effect on your offense for the entirety of the game. We'll see what they do. Maybe they move DJ Chester back to center. With a whole week of practice with that particular setup of the offensive line, I think that part will be better. I do have more confidence in LSU's offense because they're not going to be dealing with losing the center of the first play. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen again. But the other thing that we can talk about is Florida's offense against USF ran the ball really well with Jaden Baugh early and then kind of got controlled on the line of scrimmage by USF. And that was a shocking thing. We did not expect that to happen. DJ Lagway was not great throwing the ball down the field. And this is why, like, Florida beat LSU last year because DJ Lagway was making magic happen. And he has to get back to that. And oh, by the way, it feels like we've been talking about DJ Lagway forever. This is his first SEC road start.
I didn't even realize that.
First one.
He's played on the road,
Tiger
right?
Stadium. He has played, yes, in the Tennessee game last year. So, yeah, he has played on the road. This is his first SEC road start.
Well, I don't know if this is the time to unpack this, but maybe it is. What percentage of culpability does DJ Lagway have in what you saw at the USF game? Sorry.
Some. I think the play calling had a lot more to do with it. I think the game management, I think a lot of the stupid penalties, because DJ Lagway had a couple touchdowns taken off the board, which if either of those had counted, Florida wins. So I don't put it all on him, but the fact of the matter is this is a guy who, because of nagging injuries, didn't really get to throw with his teammates as much as he normally would in an offseason, wasn't throwing in spring practice. Like, there's rust there, clearly clearly. And
it's
I don't know that
Superman is rusty because we needed him to be Superman to be right. Like part of the reason why I bought into Florida hype in the offseason was because I bought into DJ Lagway hype. Someone asked me on Twitter after the game, was like, weren't you the one that was like did you buy DJ Lagway hype? I'm like, not only did I buy DJ Lagway hype, I sold personal possessions to buy more. Like I was really high on him being the difference maker, the X factor, the person who took over games and won them for his team. We saw glimpses of that last year, and like it did not manifest in any way against USF. And again, there's a lot of layers to this. He didn't practice a lot. He's rusty. He's still an inexperienced player by and large. But like I was expecting him to take over games, and I was waiting for it to happen against USF, and it never did. So I'm by no means selling my DJ Lagway stock. I'm holding it. I still think that he's tremendously talented, and he has the tools to be a really, really good player. But he did not live up to the hype of me ranking him as my number one quarterback in the country, especially not with what we've seen from other quarterbacks around the country.
And one thing I find interesting is as many questions we might have about LSU's offense coming out of the Louisiana Tech game, we don't really have any questions about their defense. We felt really good about that defense after the Clemson game. I still feel really good about it coming out of this game. And if Billy Napier's play calling is as plodding and predictable as it was against USF, Blake Baker's going to have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
So Florida's going to have to kind of let it rip. I think that's which can go two ways, and they're both very different. One can be really good and one can be really bad. But I think their only chance of winning this game is coming in there and letting it rip downfield, let DJ throw deep, hope that those receivers, J. Michael Sturdivant, Vernell Brown III, Eugene Wilson III, hope that they have a huge game. Because if they don't, if not, then it's going to be very ugly.
Yeah.
LSU's going to dominate them because LSU's defense might be the strength of their team, which is saying something because Garrett Nussmeier is obviously a really good quarterback.
Is LSU as good as we think they are? Is Florida as bad as we think they are? Is it somewhere in the middle?
Yeah. That's the question, because I think you got Florida fans going, why has Billy Napier not been fired yet? And the reason is it is realistic to think that Florida could go and beat LSU this week. Is it realistic to think Florida can beat LSU, Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M all in a row? No, probably not. But
beating LSU would be a nice start, though.
Yeah, exactly. You can't win all four of those without beating LSU. But it is realistic they might be able to win some of those games. Like, they played a terrible game against USF. They don't have a terrible roster. So it's not like, if you're LSU, you shouldn't relax at this point. Like, you need to be ready for Florida to come in completely desperate, wounded animal style, and be ready to withstand that. But I do think if LSU's defense is the strength of the team, which it very well might be, which is amazing to say considering the past 2 years of LSU defense.
Yeah.
If it is, then I think they have a much better chance of withstanding whatever desperation Florida throws at them.
I agree. I can't wait for it.
We will find out Saturday night in Death Valley when the sun finds its home in the western sky. It's going to be beautiful.